excited to be with you guys. It's such an opportunity, and I'm so humbled to be on a panel of beautiful women, talented women. I've met a couple of you ladies, and it's just a pleasure to cross paths with you all. Crystal, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity. I have to tell you that Crystal reached out to me a few weeks ago, and it was like 7:30 in the morning, and it said something like, "Hey girl, you got a minute?" And I was like, "Oh my God." I instantly went to a negative perception because I thought Crystal's going to cancel Rise Queen, which she is the speaker of the hour in Barnesville for Rise Queen in August. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And so she said she offered me to be here today. And so I didn't even have a chance to think about it. And I was like, yep, I'll do it, because all I was concerned with her is not canceling Rise Queen. So anyway, I had a time to look over it, and I had a time to speak with God, and the answer is still yes to be here, Crystal. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I wanted to also tell you guys that I have a spiritual mentor, and I would suggest anybody out there that wants to go to the next level, that wants to be better than they were yesterday, that has a business or wants to start a business, get you a spiritual mentor, someone who will pray for you even when you don't ask them to, someone who will fill your cup up with and overflow it with good. So I would suggest a spiritual mentor. Mine is Reverend Joyce Dodd, and I'm so thankful for that. So today, I just want to get right into it. I know we're a little bit behind. And this is kind of stepping outside the box for me to do it online, but I'm so excited. You know, we always want to step outside of the box and try new things. So thank you for this opportunity. Is it me, or is there anyone out there who just automatically reverts to negative perceptions when things don't quite go your way, or when things didn't pan out the way you wanted them to, and you can't find anything positive about that situation? So you kind of marinate in it, and it just all becomes positive, and you start nurturing that thing and bringing it to life. We have to know that what we speak and what we spend the most time on is what we become. And so we have to be mindful of the words that come out of our mouth, because it's like planting a seed. And when you plant that seed, when it comes out your mouth and you just dwell on it, then it grows and it comes to life. So we have to be mindful what comes out of our mouth and what we're spending our times thinking about, because as we all know, that what we think about in abundance is what we come to believe and what we come to be. It's our thought patterns, and there are all types of things that try to grab our minds and our thought patterns. You know, God looks after our heart, but the enemy wants to try to take our mind. So it's our mind and our thoughts that things are trying to take control of, but we have to stay in control of those things. Our mind never stops working at all. And so my husband always says, okay, come on, what you got, what you're thinking? And it's so true, because we're always thinking something, but we got to be careful about what we're thinking and if it's negative, because what we're putting in our minds a lot of times, we're engulfed in probably maybe work life situations, could be depression, could be fear, could be anger. It's our mindset that has a way of setting our default to negativity if we're not careful. So what you think and speak is what you are. Therefore, you must protect your core. You must not get caught up in that negative default setting. So what are you yielding yourself to? Is it peace, or are you allowing your mind to occupy negativity? A lot of the negative perceptions that we consume ourselves with stems from the conversations that we have with ourselves. So we have to be mindful what we're telling ourselves. And you'll hear me say that a lot. It can be the failures that we've made years ago that we keep dwelling on. It could be a lack of self-confidence. And of course, the list goes on and on. When I think about the word perception, I view it as a believed reality in our minds, because the moments of the negative conversations that we continue to have with ourselves, we allow it to consume us. And because we've ingrained ourselves in that, it becomes this awful habit, and it's hard to revert back to the positivity. So we have to be mindful. I believe that our minds are set up on this thing called an anchoring bias, meaning the first information that we get, the first information that we hear that someone gives us, we tend to believe that, no matter how viable the information is, that first thought is that whatever it is, we believe it. Even if the information is relayed, if the information is relayed in a negative sense, then we tend to have a negative perception. But we do have the capability to bring positive into our lives. And how we do this is by the law of attraction. And what that is just a process that helps us to deter the constant negative perceptions and thoughts that we tend to carry about ourselves. A lot of these negative perceptions that we have is due to having maybe a contaminated heart, or surrounding ourselves in negative thinking, or around negative thinking individuals. And it can poison our spirit because it's contagious. The more you're around something and the more you do something, then it becomes a part of your life. Our mind, body, and soul becomes planted in this bad soil that causes our growth to be stunted. We can't move forward. We can't see our dreams come into fruition. We have no motivation to be better. We stay stuck in that negativity. The Bible says in Psalms 103 that God fills my life with good things, so I stay young and strong. Now, I'm not talking about young in age and strong physically necessarily, but this passage is talking about being spiritually healthy and refreshed. The more time we spend with him and the more time we spend in his word, it is a constant renewal of our spirit. So if we can make it a habit of being spiritually healthy and just empty out the negatives, then we have more room for the positive. So I would challenge you to start by emptying out the negative and allow God to replace it with positive. Empty out your insecurities and allow God to fill it with confidence. Get rid of those ashes and allow God to replace them with beauty. Learn to give no place to the enemy that keeps you in a negative state. Be disciplined, revise your thinking, and change your mindset, because only you can control your feelings and what you desire. Keep your heart pure and positive and be mindful about how you're moving in this life. Take inventory of what you're giving space to, and then clean house. Revise, renew, restore. And how do you do that? Well, I would say by keeping a good attitude, surrounding yourself in good things and in good situations. Change your outlook on life. Making a change. Renew your mind on a daily basis and feed your soul with the word. Then let the word manifest in you daily, and you will begin to see the change. Stop doing what you've always done if it doesn't work for you, because remember, what you put in is what you get out. Stop thinking the way you've always thought. Joyce Myers, she said it best. She says, it's time to go home. She said, it's time to have a conversation with yourself and determine if it's time to change your thinking, stinking. Get rid of that thinking, stinking thinking. And I would have to agree with her, because we over-occupy our minds with dark revelations about ourselves at times, that we can't see the light of the good fruit. So perception, it tends to be the defect in humanity, especially when it comes to the negative perceptions about ourselves. And that's because we know ourselves so well, but we talk ourselves into believing the negative things that we tell ourselves, such as I'm fat. We talked about our body, such as I'm a failure, I'm depressed, I'm angry, all of those things that the enemy wants us to conform to. I'm depressed, I'm angry, we're none of that. So you see, your outlook determines your outcome. Your life will move in a direction of your words. We got to be careful what we said. The Bible tells us that our tongue is a powerful weapon. So we got to be careful what we're saying. The power of perception can and will change your entire life. You can either be in peace, or you can be distraught. You can be happy or you can be sad. You can either be unbothered or you could be distressed. What will your perception be? What are you saying to yourself that fills the vacancies within you? So you have 100% vacancy. What percent will you allow the positive things to engulf you with? And what percent will you allow the negative things to comfortably reside in you? Remember, you create everything in your reality. What perception, again, I say, are you creating? If it's negative, how do you remove yourself from it? How do we get back to the basics of saturating? How do we get back to the basics of saturating ourselves with positivity? Well, one, I would say we must relieve the toxins of that negative thinking. Two, start by creating exits to the events which create roadblocks to which would create roadblocks and disturbances. So just really quick, I want you to take a minute and I want you to concentrate a moment on how a river flows very steady, whether it's upstream or downstream, and it's real calm and it's just flowing. But when you throw a rock in that situation, in that river, in that flow, it disturbs the flow. You throw another rock in that river, it disturbs the flow. And that's kind of how that's exactly how our life happens when we allow and wallow in negativity. So think of the energy system, which are a series of emotions that happens in our lives. It could be trauma, could be anger or shame. It could be a storm that's come in your life that you have no control of, because granted, we have no control of when the storms will arrive in our life. But we do have control over how we move through those storms and how we replace those disturbances, like the rock in the river, how we replace those things with things like love, joy, happiness, and bliss. So remove the negative talks, remove negative emotions and actions, and restore our thoughts and staying well aware of what we concentrate on. You can't talk lack and expect abundance. You can't have a poor mouth and expect a rich life. Remember, your tongue can either curse you or it could bless you. So which one will you choose? I would dare you to speak good into existence. I will lend and not borrow. What I touch will prosper. Change the conversations with yourself. It is a process though. So remember that habits are hard to break. So don't beat yourself up too bad. Just try to start making those changes. And then what you do is you get up, you dust yourself off, and you keep striving for the good. Stay persistent and consistent, all while praying and keeping yourself spiritually healthy and sowing good seeds. You want to sow seeds of abundance, seeds of great life. You can't plant a watermelon seed expecting cucumbers to grow. So you have to plant those good seeds. The Bible tells us that our tongue, again, is a powerful weapon. So again, change the talks that you have and start living a life of all things good. Create a life that knows how and when to change. So loose those shackles and sit inside of freedom. Sit inside of self-care. Inspire yourself. Be willing to touch the greatness within you. Be willing to love yourself on another level. Pray on another level. Forgive yourself on another level. Show up on another level. Be on another level on a daily basis. And when you stand in that, the negative perceptions that you ever had about yourself begins to fade away. Remember, you are so much better than what you tell yourself. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, girl, you look good, but today you look hot. Start having those good conversations about yourself. Change your thinking by calling yourself beautiful, talented, and renewed. Proverbs 6 says, we are snared by the words of our mouth. Snared means that we are trapped by the words of our mouth. So your words can trip you up, and what you say can cause you to stumble. So change the narrative of the negative perceptions and open the floodgates to the positive. Make the change. But just remember this, and I close. Nothing will change if you're not willing to change. Thank you, ladies.
Man, that was awesome. I love it. This is my first time actually hearing you speak, Miss Thomas, and it was amazing. I like what you were saying, empowering today. One thing that I do like that I got away from that is, we talk about our bodies and how unsatisfied we are with our bodies. And sometimes people ain't even thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? But it's our own perception, like we were talking about earlier. But one thing that I did get from that is where the mind goes, the body goes. So if you think yourself a certain way, then guess what? Your body and your mind is going to go that way. If you continue to think that you're fat or ugly, then you're gonna be fat and ugly. And I hear all the time people say, "Oh, you're beautiful," and you start like, "Well, where can I get that mirror at? I want to see what you guys see." You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's what we tell ourselves. And I'm kind of like Crystal, like I'm now don't look in the mirror and see that because I have done some things to this body because I like to eat. But
well, we all do.
we just have to start really speaking what we believe about our make, because again, what I say, if we speak it and we stay in that, then we'll start believing the good things about ourselves.
That's right. Do anybody else have any questions? But one thing I do want to say, you didn't tell us how to find you. Are you on Facebook? Give us that information.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook. It's just under Marva. It's Valette Sunshine Thomas. So just if you put Marva Thomas in there, you should find it. I'm also on Instagram, Valette.sunshine. You can also email me. I'm at ptnlphases@gmail.com.